What do you want to do? The godfather looked at Richard seriously and asked, "How long does this chlordiazepoxide last?" Richard ignored the godfather and turned to ask the godfather's partner. "In 4 hours, before the drug is about to lose its effect, someone will remind them to inject Chlordia," said the godfather's partner. "How long until he gets his chlordiazepoxide injection?" 10 minutes. It seems that you are still very confident in your own strength. You actually think you can get rid of us in such a short time. They stopped talking. Then T-800 came up and said to Richard, "All the enemies have been eliminated. Tie him up for me." "Roger that, Richard." T-800 walked towards the godfather with heavy steps. When T-800 got close to him, the godfather suddenly jumped up and punched T-800 in the throat. However, he never expected that there was a core skeleton inside T-800, so the punch was no less than hitting a wall, and he immediately retracted it in pain. "You are not human," said the godfather in surprise. T-800 didn't waste any time and directly picked up the chains and tied up the godfather completely. Even if Captain America was here, it would probably take some effort to break free, let alone the godfather who was just an ordinary person. "Now just wait for the effects of your medicine to wear off." "What exactly do you want to do?" the godfather asked again. Richard ignored him. As time passed, Richard could feel the godfather's breathing getting heavier again. He looked at the godfather and found that his eyes were staring at the mural in front of him. Even the godfather himself didn't realize that he seemed to have become interested in these things. As the effect of the chlordiazepoxide completely wore off, the godfather looked at the colorful objects in front of him and subconsciously stood up. T-800 wanted to stop him, but was stopped by Richard. The godfather slowly walked towards a mural, looked at the figures on it, and wanted to touch them, but he had been restrained by T-800. T-800 let him go. T-800 untied the godfather without any hesitation. The godfather looked at the chains that fell to the ground, slowly took off his gloves, then squatted down and gently stroked the cold chains. The wonderful feeling was unforgettable for him. Then he looked at the mural again, placed his palm on it, closed his eyes and took in everything carefully. Not only the murals, but also the brightly colored cloths, books filled with the scent of ink, and toys. He touched them all, and finally he sat on the ground panting. "What do you think, godfather? Do you still want to go back to your original self?" Richard asked, standing in front of the godfather. "When did you start?" The godfather ignored Richard and asked with his head down. "About 6 months ago, I was on a mission but unexpectedly fell into an ambush. Although I finally solved the problem of that group of emotional criminals, due to my self-confidence, I didn't carry any extra chlordiazepoxide with me, which resulted in my failure to inject it in time. That's when I discovered the truth about the world. Ever since I stopped injecting chlordiazepoxide, I found that the world has become more colorful, and I don't want to go back to who I used to be." The godfather's partner explained, "I understand. I will help you overthrow the president's rule." The godfather stood up and said with a firm look in his eyes, "Okay, then please lead the way. I think they should have started their plan. If we go there now, we can help them." Richard said with a smile. Then everyone drove back to the city. At this time, due to the sudden attack of the rebels and the large number of priests sent to eliminate Richard and others, the city's defense force was insufficient, which allowed the rebels to occupy a large amount of territory. However, when they drove into the area, the rebels thought they were priests, so they opened fire. If T-800 had not been a good driver, the car would have been shot into holes. For this reason, they had to take out books and hang them outside the car door to let the rebels know that they were their own people. At this time, a large number of rebels were attacking the government building where the president was located. All the brainwashing videos were also transmitted from this brain building. However, because there were only the remaining priests defending inside, the rebels still did not attack even at a heavy price. Once the regular army reacted, they would be attacked from both sides. However, when the leader of the rebels, Jurgen, saw the arrival of T-800 and the godfather, he immediately smiled. "You're finally here, and you even let the godfather come to our side. Leave it to us from now on." Richard said to Jurgen, "Okay, we will block the enemies outside for you, but you have to rely on yourself to deal with the enemies inside. Jürgen said to everyone. Several people looked at each other, and the Godfather said, "Leave it to me. I have made many mistakes, and it is time to make amends." Then he rushed into the government building first, followed by Patji, his partner. Richard and T-800 also hurriedly followed. Unexpectedly, the Godfather had already started a war with the priests inside, and he easily eliminated a large number of enemies with his superb gun-fighting skills. Finally, he rushed directly into the president's office, but who knew that the president had already died, and now the vice president was in control of the overall situation. The vice president has been using technology to replace his face on the big screen with the president's, constantly brainwashing the masses. The Godfather has determined through his own observations that the vice president in front of him has not been injected with chlordiazepoxide, so he does have emotions. This is such a sad thing. All humans are required to be injected with chlordiazepoxide, but the vice president who holds the highest power did not get it. It seems that he also knows that humans who are injected with chlordiazepoxide are no longer human beings. So the vice president was beheaded on the spot by the furious Godfather. At the same time, the Godfather destroyed the video that had been playing repeatedly and followed the rebels to destroy the Librium factory. Only a few hours later, all humans began to recover their emotions. At this time, Jürgen stood up and joined the Godfather to restore human order. At this point, Richard completed this commission and returned to the Marvel Universe with T-800. "How is it? The commission has been completed, right?" Li Qingyue asked as soon as Richard appeared. But Richard didn't say anything but frowned, as if he was going through something. Seeing this, Li Qingyue quickly took out the improved version of NZT, opened his mouth and threw it in. As the improved version of NZT entered his stomach, Richard's frown slowly relaxed, and he opened his eyes after a while. "Teacher, this gunfighting technique is amazing. It involves a lot of knowledge. Of course, this is a technique that allows ordinary people to dodge bullets. Without so much knowledge as a backing, how could an ordinary person possibly learn it? Now, can you perform it?" "Of course, teacher." "Then let me see it for myself." Then the two began to fight in the office. Li Qingyue did not attack at close range, but only shot from a distance, and all he shot were BB bullets. However, Richard was able to completely dodge these bullets, but once Li Qingyue bounced the bullet back, Richard would have no way to dodge it. It seems that this gun-fighting technique is not that powerful, Li Qingyue said. But Richard rolled his eyes at Li Qingyue. After all, who in the world could shoot like that? Richard left the office and returned to his home. As soon as he pushed the door open, he saw Kingpin and Vanessa. "Dad, Mom, I'm back," Richard shouted, running to the refrigerator and taking out a can of Coke and drinking it. "I'm back. Wash your hands quickly and come to eat. After dinner, I need to tell you something." "What's the matter?" "We have to wait until after dinner to talk about it." "Can't we talk about it now?" "It's not that it's impossible to say it now, but you're going to start school in a couple of days," Vanessa said as she walked out holding a pot of lobster. "School starts?" "Yes, you forgot that you are now a student and a child. You were Wilson's enemy before, but now he has dealt with it, so you should start school." "Can we not open school?" Richard said with a sullen face. "It's no use telling me, tell your dad," Vanessa said helplessly. Then Richard looked at Jean Bing and ran over to him with a flattering smile, but Jean Bing shook his head. "I can agree to everything else, but I can't agree to this. You must go to school." After hearing this, Richard knew that there was no room for negotiation on this matter and hung his head. "I see you're having so much fun that you don't even want to go to school." "I'm not crazy. I just handled a few commissions with the teacher and broadened my horizons, so I don't want to sit in the classroom with a bunch of little brats," Richard explained. "Little brat, do you know how old you are? You still want to broaden your horizons. No matter how much you broaden your horizons, you have to go to school obediently." Vanessa poked Richard's head and said. Finally, under the pressure of the two men, Richard had no choice but to go to school reluctantly. In a blink of an eye, it was time for Richard to go back to school. Although he was very reluctant, he had no choice but to have Vanessa personally send him to the school, Washington Elementary School, which can be said to be the best elementary school in New York. Not only that, it also has the best security in New York. After all, many children of high-ranking officials and wealthy people go to school here, and even the children of some gangster bosses go to school here. Richard is one of them. However, because Kingpin deliberately hides his identity from the outside, Richard is just the child of a philanthropist. It is no exaggeration to say that the pocket money that the children in this primary school can easily take out is a sum that a hard-working worker cannot earn in a year. Richard returned to his class, and as soon as he sat down, several girls surrounded him. "Richard, are you okay? I heard you were sick and stopped attending classes for almost a year. Do you want me to help you review the knowledge points for this year?" "Richard, this is my notebook. Let me lend it to you." "Well, Richard, this is mine. Look at it if you want." Several girls almost got into a fight over this. Richard had a good-looking appearance, which naturally caused dissatisfaction among some people. Then a fat boy with a larger physique came over. "Hey, isn't this Richard the sickly one? How did you recover?" "Feiluan, the teacher has warned you that if you bully your classmates, she will talk to your parents. Don't forget that if you embarrass your parents, they will teach you a lesson," a girl shouted. "Hey, Leah, don't forget that you are my sister, you are on that side," the fat boy shouted unhappily. "I stand on the side of truth." The girl retorted to the fat boy, which made the fat boy so angry that he wanted to explode, but he was afraid that his parents would be called. "Actually, I had a tutor during my holidays, so I didn't fall behind in my classes," Richard said in a low voice. "I don't believe it unless you explain to me how to solve this problem." A girl pulled a stool over and sat down next to Richard and asked, "I don't believe it either. Tell me about it." The other girl quickly rushed to the other side of Richard. Seeing this, the other girl put her arms around Richard's neck and put her head close to Richard's face. "Hey, that's enough. It's not right for men and women to touch each other. Let me go." Richard wanted to break free, but he was afraid that he would use too much force and hurt them, which made him very restrained. It was not until the bell rang that the girls left Richard reluctantly and returned to their seats, looking back every few steps. As the teacher came in, he first announced the news of Richard's return, and then the class officially began. It was soon time to go home from school. Just as Richard was boredly waiting for Vanessa to pick him up, a luxury car suddenly stopped in front of Richard. Then a girl leaned out and kissed Richard. Before Richard could react, the car door was opened and the girl grabbed Richard and pulled him in. "Richard." "Leah, be reserved." "Richard, Vanessa doesn't have time to pick you up, so please let me pick you up," said the woman in the driver's seat. "So that's how it is. Sorry to bother you, Aunt Aiji." "You don't have to be so polite, Farhan. Why don't you say hello?" The fat boy sitting next to Leah said reluctantly, "Hello, Richard." Richard also greeted the fat boy, and at the same time he reached out and gently pushed away Leah, who was clinging to him. "Leah, you're too close." "Is it very close?" "I don't think so," Leah said with a smile, and continued to snuggle into Richard's arms. Although Richard pushed her away again, she still snuggled into his arms tirelessly. Finally, Richard lay down completely, and Leah still snuggled in his arms. Soon the car arrived at Hell's Kitchen. Looking at the greedy eyes of the adults around them, Leah and Farhan were so scared that they started swallowing their saliva. Leah even stayed completely in Richard's arms and didn't dare to look up. But Richard was not afraid at all, and looked at them sharply. Suddenly, a man appeared in front of the car, holding a submachine gun and pointing it at the car. Seeing this, Aunt Aiji subconsciously slammed on the brakes and turned the steering wheel sharply, turning the car sideways. Richard immediately took out his gun and shot the man. The gunshot scared the three people in the car, and Richard ran out after saying something. "Aunt Aiji, please stay inside and don't come out." Richard ran out and suddenly felt something. He stopped abruptly and bent down to avoid the bullet from behind him. But Richard didn't even turn his head. He pointed the gun at the position behind him and fired. The next second, the sound of a heavy object falling was heard. Then Richard started his extremely violent gunfighting skills. The bullets could not hit him at all. Instead, the attackers kept dying in Richard's hands. Until a man on the roof held an RPG and aimed it at the car. It was too late for Richard to stop him. Just as the attacker was about to pull the trigger to fire the RPG, a bullet hit his head directly and killed him. When Richard saw the man who had fired the gun, he shouted in surprise, "Teacher!" Marvel Studios. After Li Qingyue rescued Aiji and his group, they followed Li Qingyue's shabby motorcycle all the way to the office. "Teacher, how come you are there?" "I just received a commission asking me to protect them," Li Qingyue said, pointing at Aunt Aiji and her group. "Commission? Who is it? Is it Conti Black?" Aiji asked excitedly as if he had thought of something. "Let me see, yes, it's Count Black." "Where is he now?" Aiji asked excitedly. Li Qingyue shook his head, signaling her to calm down. Aiji took a deep breath and slowly sat down on the sofa. Li Qingyue then spoke. "After paying me to protect you, he left. He left quite quickly, so I don't know where he is." "Mom, is it Dad?" Leah came to Aiji and asked in a crying voice. "Leah, it's not Dad, it's just a friend that Mom is familiar with." Seeing that Leah was about to cry, Li Qingyue quickly shouted, "Tom, Jerry." The next moment, Tom and Jerry appeared in front of Li Qingyue, but when they saw Leah and Farron, they seemed to know their fate. Just as they were about to escape, Li Qingyue shot them directly, which scared everyone present, except Richard. "Uncle, why did you kill the kitten and the mouse?" Leah asked, suppressing her fear. "You called me uncle." Li Qingyue pointed at his own face and questioned. This frightened Leah so much that she quickly hid behind Richard. At this time, Li Qingyue came to Tom and Jerry, kicked them and said, "Okay, stop pretending to be dead. Take them to play the game console." Tom and Jerry immediately got up from the ground, which made the situation even more terrifying. Don't be afraid, Tom and Jerry are immortal, so they were fine just now, they were just pretending to be dead. "Really?" Leah looked up and asked. "It's true." Later, under Tom's guidance, the Farron siblings started playing with them. Then Li Qingyue came to Aunt Aiji and said, "The client said that because he offended someone, I will protect your family until he gets rid of them. So you will live here from now on. But don't worry, the client said that a week at most will be enough." "Did he really say it for a week?" "Yes." "Okay, where are we going to stay next?" "Tom, take them to Water's place to find a house." Li Qingyue turned around and shouted. But Tom ignored him and continued to challenge Farron in The King of Fighters. Seeing this, Li Qingyue walked behind Tom with a dark face. Farron, Leah, and Richard all saw this scene. They couldn't help swallowing their saliva. Richard and Farron reminded Tom, but Tom was addicted to The King of Fighters and couldn't extricate himself. Finally, Li Qingyue punched Tom on the head, and Tom was immediately beaten into a puddle of mud. "Uncle, can Tom be resurrected like this? Hurry up and lead the way, or I'll give your dried fish today to Jerry." Tom, who was just a puddle of mud, immediately jumped into the air and stayed in the air for almost 5 seconds before landing. He brought Aunt Aiji and her family of 3 to the apartment building next door. After asking Walter for the key, Aiji and her family of 3 chose a room, and then asked old Jack to send clothes and daily necessities, and they settled down here temporarily. After everything was ready, Aiji said to Feiluan and Leah, "Okay, let Mom take care of this. You guys go play with Tom." After hearing this, the 2 children happily ran towards the office. As soon as they opened the door, Farron ran to Tom and said, "Let's continue." Leah came to Li Qingyue and said cautiously, "Uncle, do you know where Richard's home is?" "Uncle? I'm so young, what should you call me?" "So how old are you this year?" 25, what's wrong? I'm only 10 years old this year, and you're 15 years older than me. If not my uncle, then what are you?" Leah retorted. Li Qingyue lay helplessly in the boss chair and pointed to the villa next to the office and said, "Richard's house is over there, go there by yourself." After getting Richard's location, Leah jumped over and ran over. As she pressed the doorbell, Vanessa came over and opened the door in confusion, but when she saw that the person coming was Leah, she was obviously a little surprised. "Leah, why are you here?" Vanessa quickly made way. Leah greeted Vanessa and rushed in. Just then she saw Richard coming out and rushed towards Richard. In order to prevent Leah from getting hurt, Richard could only hug Leah with both hands. "Leah, Why are you here? Leah did not answer because she saw Jean Bing. After all, Jean Bing's figure was something that even Leah had rarely seen. In addition, Jean Bing was staring at her. Even though he had completely restrained his aura, Leah was still scared and dared not look at him. Richard, who is this little girl? Jean Bing asked with a smile. Leah, my classmate, because someone issued a commission to protect their family, the teacher brought them here to stay temporarily. I see. Has Leah eaten yet? If not, you can stay and eat with us. Looking at Kingpin's kind smile, Leah nodded and sat next to Richard and started eating. After the meal, Leah became familiar with Jean Bing. He walked to Jean Bing and poked his belly with his hand, but the soft feeling he imagined did not come. Instead, it was as if he poked a wall. Okay, go play with Richard and stop poking your uncle's belly. Jean Bing said helplessly. Leah stuck out her tongue and ran to play with Richard, while Vanessa had been watching them. Haha, if Leah knew your true identity, what expression do you think she would show? Jean rolled his eyes at Vanessa unhappily, then stood up and said, I'm going back to host the show. You don't have to wait for me tonight. Got it? Be careful. Jean Bing nodded, said something to Richard and the others who were chatting in the living room, and then left. Richard and Leah chatted until about 8 or 9 o'clock, until Aiji came to find Leah, and Leah reluctantly said goodbye to Richard. Richard, do you like Leah? Mom, what are you talking about? I'm only 10 years old. Hey, what's wrong with being 10 years old? If you really like Leah, I'll go talk to Aiji right now and get you two engaged first. I don't want to bother with you. Richard rolled his eyes at Vanessa and hurried upstairs to his room. In New York, on the top floor of a hotel, a group of heavily armed men stood on the roof, one of them in a smart suit watching the group. The mission failed? Yes, my lord. Since we can't make this money, we can only let others make it. Let's issue a bounty. Yes, sir. The group of people left immediately, and the man in a well-fitting suit stood on the edge, overlooking the night view in front of him. At this time, as his eyes slowly moved upwards, a hotel appeared in front of him. The name of the hotel was very strange. It was called Continental Hotel. Dividing line. Boss, something bad has happened. Walter rushed in shouting, and Li Qingyue just frowned slightly. What's wrong? You're so startled. They are on the bounty list. The bounty is $20 million, and Leah and Ferran each get $5 million. Walter shouted. What bounty? The bounty on the Continental Hotel has alerted assassins throughout New York. I've already assigned the T-800 to protect Leah and her brother. Next, we'll go protect Aiji. Aiji? Isn't she here? Li Qingyue asked in confusion. She was called away by a phone call just now. Zhao, why didn't you tell me earlier? Li Qingyue hurriedly picked up the key and was about to ride his worn-out old motorcycle when Walter knocked it away. Okay, boss, stop driving your old car and follow me. Walter took Li Qingyue into a sports car and drove directly to where Aiji was. In the car, Walter also contacted Constantine, hoping that he could go ahead. However, although Constantine had learned a lot of magic, in order to open the portal, it must be a place he had seen. Unfortunately, Constantine was taken away by Ancient One before he could take a good look at this world, so he had no way to open the portal. Seeing that Constantine was unable to help, Walter had to give up. He contacted Edge and asked him to leave his original position quickly. But as soon as he finished speaking, Walter heard gunshots. Speed up, I don't want our firm's 100% completion rate to become 99%. Go faster. Li Qingyue shouted. After hearing this, Walter directly opened the red cover on the dashboard, revealing the button inside. As Walter pressed the button, he suddenly felt a strong push on his back, and the number on the speedometer instantly soared to a terrifying speed of 450 kilometers per hour. This is nothing. The most important thing is that with the help of the improved version of NZT, Walter can use his super control technology to avoid traffic while maintaining a speed of 450 kilometers per hour. The terrifying level of this directly caused all the police to be dispatched to intercept Walter. But it was so fast that even a helicopter couldn't catch it. At such a terrifying speed, they quickly arrived at the building of Aiji Company. After physically stopping the car, the two rushed into the building. Of course, the car was scrapped. After all, they sacrificed the life of the car in exchange for such a speed, so it was normal for the car to be scrapped. After the two men broke into the building, police cars arrived and immediately surrounded the building. It was not until gunshots were heard from the building that the police began to enter the building and conduct a thorough search. But they didn't know that the battle in the building was not something they could interfere with. Li Qingyue and his companions arrived at the door of Aiji's company, only to see that it was full of corpses. At the same time, they heard gunshots again. The two rushed in quickly and saw a group of people shooting at a door lock. Li Qingyue quickly opened the door and killed the group of people. "Aiji, is that you?" After a long while, the door was opened and Aiji walked out. "Are you hurt?" Walter asked with a frown as he looked at the blood that continued to flow from her arm. Aiji nodded palely. "I was shot in the arm, and the bullet is stuck inside." Walter looked at the wound on her arm and said, "Boss, her condition is too dangerous and she needs surgery immediately. Can you perform surgery here?" "Okay." "Then you do it. I'll block them from here. There's only one entrance here, right?" "No, there's an elevator and stairs in front, and another staircase in the back, which leads to the emergency passage," Aiji said while enduring the pain. "I understand. Go ahead and do the surgery." Walter helped Aiji into the room they had just been in, pushed down all the clutter on the table, and then helped Aiji lie down on the table. Walter first pressed lightly on a certain acupuncture point of Aiji, and Aiji immediately fainted. Then Walter took out the dagger he carried with him, lit a fire with some miscellaneous items nearby, used the disinfected dagger, and then started the operation. Outside, a large number of killers attacked. Li Qingyue relied on his powerful five senses and superb marksmanship, so he suppressed them and prevented them from getting out. In the end, the killers could only cooperate, but they still could not break through Li Qingyue's suppression. "Zhao, who is this person? Why haven't I seen him before? His shooting skills are too accurate." Not only is his shooting accurate, but his gun has also been modified. The bullet can actually penetrate such a thick concrete wall. "What should we do next?" one of the killers shouted. "If all else fails, let her go. We can go find the other two. They're just kids, so they should be easier to assassinate." After hearing this, a small number of killers decided to give up, but most of the killers still did not want to miss the temptation of the 20 million from Aiji. "Boss, the operation is completed." "Got it. Now it's time to go on a killing spree. Be quiet." As Li Qingyue slowly exhaled, he closed his eyes and amplified his hearing infinitely. A lot of breathing sounds and heartbeats came into his ears. He raised his gun, aimed at the place where the sound came from, and pulled the trigger directly, firing one shot after another. Soon he could only hear 3 heartbeats, and these 3 heartbeats were obviously theirs. "Let's go, it's already been taken care of." As Walter carried Edge to the elevator door, he found that there were about 20 more corpses around. Half of them were shot in the head, and the other half were shot through the heart. "Boss, there's no car. Just buy one. I'm going to go save those 2 kids first. I hope you can deal with the other killers." "Don't worry, I'm not that weak." Walter told Li Qingyue to rescue Farron and Leah without worry. Li Qingyue nodded, hailed a taxi, and headed towards Washington Elementary School. At this time, at the gate of Washington Elementary School, a bus crashed open the gate, and a group of thugs in suits and armed with weapons broke into the school. The security guards at the gate of Washington Elementary School reacted and pulled out their weapons and shot at the group of people, but their bullets could not penetrate their bulletproof vests. Even though these security guards were retired soldiers, they were still killed by this group of mysterious people. Gunshots rang out throughout the school, and all the teachers lowered their windows and locked their doors almost at the same time. You should know that due to the increasing number of school shootings in the United States, schools have begun to pay attention to campus security measures. For example, all windows are bulletproof glass, even the doors. For this reason, Washington Elementary School has spent a lot of money to prepare these. However, when the wealthy saw how safe the school was, they simply agreed to share the cost of replacing the doors and windows. Although all the doors and windows had been closed and locked, the teachers were very frightened. After all, they were just ordinary people. Now they could only pray that the police would come quickly. However, little did they know the origins of this group of people, and even the police did not dare to provoke them. They could only hope that this group of people could find their target as soon as possible and leave. When Richard heard the gunshot, he had already reached into his school bag and looked ahead intently. At this moment, he heard the sound of uniform footsteps, which stopped at the door of their classroom. The teacher hurriedly called all the students over. She protected the students behind her and looked at the door handle with horror. She saw that the door handle was turning gently. I clearly locked the door. How could they open it? The teacher said to himself. Teacher, they came prepared. It's actually very simple to find someone who can pick a lock. Richard explained as he stood behind the door holding a custom revolver. Richard, where did you get the gun? The teacher was terrified and a little angry. Teacher, don't worry about it. Help me attract their attention. Richard said. Just as the teacher was about to say something else, the door lock was unlocked, and then the door was pushed open. A man holding an assault rifle, wearing a black bulletproof helmet and a black bulletproof vest walked in. Where are Farron Black and Leah Black? I don't know who you are talking about. Maybe you came to the wrong place, the teacher said, suppressing his fear. After hearing this, the man raised his gun. Just as he was about to shoot, Richard attacked and kicked him in the popliteal fossa. The sudden force made him kneel down on one knee. Then Richard pointed the gun at the back of his head and shot without saying a word. The upgraded gun directly penetrated the bulletproof helmet, and blood slowly flowed from the gap. Teacher, close the door. No matter what you hear, don't open it. After saying that, Richard walked out and closed the door heavily. The movement here also attracted a large number of enemies. Richard began his massacre, but the capacity of his revolver was too small. He had to change the bullets after fighting for a short time each time. Moreover, he did not bring many bullets this time. His bullets were specially made and other bullets were not suitable at all. After a while, he was out of ammunition and food. He had tried to use their rifles, but the recoil was too great and he had no way to control it. Seeing that a group of enemies were about to surround him, suddenly gunshots rang out and countless bullets hit them. Even their bulletproof vests could not withstand the large-caliber bullets. T-800, you're here. Richard shouted. Yes, the person who came was T-800. He was holding an MG-42 machine gun and suppressing the enemies in the distance. At the same time, he threw a bag of bullets to Richard. Richard quickly picked it up, loaded the bullets, and then cooperated with T-800 to kill all the enemies in the school. At the same time, Li Qingyue also rushed over. Seeing the corpses all over the ground, he quickly took Fei Luan and Li Yao away from the school, leaving the place to the police to deal with. Soon everyone returned to the Marvel office. When Aji saw Farron and Leah coming back, he quickly ran over and hugged them. Are you all right? It's okay, Mom. Richard protects us very well. Leah said softly, patting Aji's back gently. Thank you so much. You're welcome. After all, it's my responsibility to protect you. Just stay here obediently for the next period of time. Li Qingyue said. Yes. Aji said with some fear. Squeak. There was a sharp sound of brakes, and then Tony got out of the car. Tony, why are you here? Li Qingyue looked at Tony and asked. Why am I here? Do you know how much trouble you have caused? Tony said, and at the same time took out his mobile phone to play a video. The video showed Li Qingyue killing everyone. This video has gone viral online, with many people reposting it and forcing the government to publicly deal with you. The government is openly dealing with me, they don't dare. Li Qingyue laughed coldly. Are you sure? When I just arrived, the joint police and military forces were already on the way. Tony reminded. After hearing this, Li Qingyue frowned slightly, took out his cell phone and dialed a number. Are you going to break the agreement? Li Qingyue said immediately after hearing the call connected. It's not that we want to break it, but the public's call is too loud. We have no choice, and it's not my turn to make the decision now. The person on the other end of the phone said helplessly. It doesn't matter. I don't care which one of you makes the decision. But if you really want to perish together, your scandal will appear internationally the next day. Not only that, I also know a lot of things you have done over the years. I think the United Nations and other countries should be interested in this information. Even if you say so, we can't do anything unless you can eliminate the High Table. We can't afford to provoke their power either. I'll give you a week. During this week, either you eliminate the High Table or we take action. There's no other possibility, even if it means we both perish. I understand. 1 week. Give me the address. After a while, an address appeared on Li Qingyue's mobile phone. Walter, let Constantine come back. Li Qingyue said with a dark face. Yes, boss. Walter could see that Li Qingyue was really angry. A few seconds after Walter finished the call, a circle of sparks appeared, and then Constantine appeared here in monk's clothes. Tony, Edge, and the other two all widened their eyes. They never expected Constantine to appear in such a situation. Boss, what's wrong? Constantine asked as soon as he appeared. How's your magic learning going? Well, I've learned most of it. What's wrong, boss? Help me protect them. I need to go out and take care of some things. This. Constantine looked a little hesitant. What's wrong? Can't I ask you to protect them? Li Qingyue asked with a dark face. Constantine gave a bitter laugh and said helplessly, No, boss, it's just that I recently provoked Mephisto, who wants to trick me into joining hell. So these days, besides learning magic, I've been fighting demons from hell. If I leave Kamar, I'm afraid Mephisto will personally take me to hell. So that's how it is. But you, kid, are so popular with demons no matter which world you are in. But don't worry, as long as the Ancient One is still here, Mephisto won't dare to act so blatantly. Those who come are just small fry. It's okay. Okay, I'll stay here. Constantine saw that Li Qingyue had said this and naturally couldn't refuse. Li Qingyue took his weapon and left. Tony looked at his back, took out a suitcase from the car and left it here. But they didn't know that just when Li Qingyue left Hell's Kitchen, the High Table Special Forces team entered Hell's Kitchen. All the gangs received the message that they were not allowed to help Marvel Studios.